Sinful fruitcake.
Sinful fruitcake.
Sinful fruitcake. Sinful fruitcake. So, good evening and welcome back everyone to Book Club. All of our return listeners, joined as always by my siblings in arms and also in peace, Ansel and
Here.
Dylan Crowder.
Present.
Yeah. Introduce
Present.
yourself.
Yep.
Say hello.
Howdy.
Present. All right.
Hello.
I'll mark you down on the roll here. You're both here. And this is part one of my 5-part series. Crap you were supposed to read in school and probably didn't. And as you return listeners probably know, and I'm sure Dylan knows, this week's was The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. It's a favorite amongst English teachers and a not-so-favorite amongst English students. Just going to go ahead and say it. I like the book, and that's why I picked it. And let's see where this goes. Anybody got some opening remarks on Mr. Hawthorne's timeless classic, The Scarlet Letter? Dylan, you?
Yeah, he did a bad job. He did a bad job on the writing.
Expound on that, if you will.
I'm sure, 150 years ago, people may have talked like that, but they don't anymore. We should be using English classes to encourage the children to actually enjoy what they're reading instead of, it's just language for language's sake. It's a soap opera that could be summed up in, a 45-minute poorly made TV show. It's like Downton Abbey without the action, and there's no action in Downton Abbey. But it's just still more interesting than this.
Do you watch Downton Abbey? Is this something that...
How
do you know there's no action in it?
I saw like a quarter of an episode before I fell asleep. So I'm basing the entire series off of that one experience. Like, they were talking about somebody died, but I didn't see anybody die. I just saw a bunch of rich folks.
Yeah, here's the thing. I didn't absolutely hate it, but yeah, I don't really get it. You know what I mean? I think in a large part because I'm not really sure what the author was really getting at, because the language, the vernacular was a little, I'm not ashamed to admit my ignorance here. I don't really get why it has this classic status, but I didn't hate it. I mean, I think it was kind of soap opera-y, Dylan, and it's just like the you can't judge a book by its cover. That people write about all the time. Sometimes, it's a good lesson, I guess. But yeah, I don't get why it's a requirement in so many schools.
And a lot of people regard it as like the greatest American novel. Like, that's, I don't know. It's just not. It's not my cup of tea.
Well, I do think like at the time, like that whole century, people were trying to write the great American novel. You know what I mean? And I think people were putting a conscious effort into trying to be like, this is the novel that's going to define this country. This is going to be the national novel. You know what I mean? I think that was, I think that's what Hawthorne was trying to do. He was trying to write the great American novel, and then a lot of people were ready to read the great American novel too. Does that make sense?
Kind of, but that seems like something.
sense.
That seems like something that if you try to do that, then you're bound to fail.
Right, and I would also argue that this novel is so local to the New England area, and it's so focused on basically one cult in the New England area that I don't know if he was really shooting for the American novel. I did write several papers about it, but what I find interesting about it, and both of you make extremely fair points. There's no need in speaking in ye olde tongue, and it is completely devoid of action unless you want to think about the emotional suspense that the four characters are going through. But what it is a scathing indictment of religious extremism and its repression.
I think it was an
on
embrace of
human
it more
sexuality.
than an indictment. I didn't really get that it was. I didn't really read it that way. I'm not. I mean, please tell me how you did. I'm not trying to say you're wrong. But
Well, I mean, right off the bat, I mean, she's ostracized and goes through all the silly tribulations throughout the book because she had an affair and basically got knocked up from an affair. And this is, having a child out of wedlock in Puritan Massachusetts is the equivalent of, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you get to see two sides of it, though. That's the thing. It's like you get her, her experience, but the crap, I've already forgotten. Dimsdale, is that the minister's name?
Yeah.
Dimsdale, he committed the same crime, but he never faced the public humiliation that Hester did. So you kind of get to see how each, it's like its own different kind of punishment. I think I don't think it was, you said an indictment of religious extremism or whatever you said. I think it was in that setting only because you needed the public. You needed the public to be scornful of the act in order. But the point of the book is just to see how, or just to show how, if you deal with something, let's see, if was it ignominy? Is that the word that he kept using?
Ignominy,
I think. Or ignominy. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not me.
But
it's ignominious.
I mean, it's better to be out with it than to sort of bottle that up, I guess. And that's kind of the point of the novel. I thought, like Dylan said, it could have been a 45-minute telenovela.
Okay, fair enough. Dylan, add to that or detract from it?
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. That pretty much sums it up.
All right, cool. You mentioned the good Reverend Dimsdale. He says in chapter 17, were I an atheist, a man devoid of conscience, a wretch with coarse and brutal instincts, I might have found peace long ere now. Ere meaning before now. That's offensive as hell to me. just gonna throw that on the table. And
you have to consider the audience. Mid 19th century America. I mean, that's kind of the general
part
consensus.
And parcel. I understand, and that's part and parcel for what I think this novel does. It shows that this rigid religious structure to the community was just had its grip on everyone so badly that he's even saying, I would be better off if I had no religion whatsoever. I would be able to, and it's,
but that was true of the reading public too. It's not just the people in the story. You know what I mean?
True of everybody, but that's what's constricting him and Hester and this rigid sort of I think Hawthorne's great grandfather was the judge in the Salem witch trials. And
yeah, he was he was actually the only judge that never repented, according to Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, he never repented. He was doing God's work, and I think at some point, I think I've even read that Hawthorne was basically trying to slander the Puritan religion as much as possible and distance himself from it. And maybe that's wrong. But this is part and parcel for the whole novel. This is all of their hardships come from them not being able to function in society after the committance of a sin, which is seen as the same sins that are punishable by death in some places of the world even today. And that's what I find in the book as interesting, is that even at such 200 years later, he was able to write, and it had to have been a huge shock. You know what I mean? It had to have been a huge shock to the system, even in 1850 or whenever it was written. Yes, no, thoughts?
Well, I guess I think that. I'm sorry, Dylan. Go ahead. I kind of talked about this already. You can.
Well, I just wanted to say that the part towards the end where Dimsdale finally confesses, it really reminded me of that one David Matthews Band song, "I Did It." And the lyrics are like, God, no. "You think I've gone too far? I did it. Guilty as charged." It's just a really good song, and it put that in my mind, and I just couldn't get that image out of my head of this preacher singing this Dave Matthews Band song.
That's hilarious. I always pictured Dimsdale looking like Dave Matthews, so that's.
See, I pictured him looking like the black fiddle player
in Puritan New England.
Yeah.
See, I had him more of
sweet
like a Mike
Huckabee
type figure.
Why Mike Huckabee?
Mike Huckabee. I don't know. It's just that's kind of when I think of a. I don't know why I think it's a Mike Huckabee type thing, but it's just that's just kind of where my mind went. I guess if you think of an eligible bachelor preacher, the only candidate would be Mike Huckabee, right?
Maybe a young Mike Pence.
Yeah, maybe. But I also the reason I didn't think it was. I think the religious thing. It was just the setting, and also I think that was just how it was at the time. You know what I mean? I think I don't even think that education was compulsory yet. Back when this, I think schools were all parochial. So I think Hawthorne trying, and I do think he was trying to write the great American novel with this. I think he figured that all of the not colonists, but all of Americans would have that in common. Education in a sort of rigid Christian school, but the Puritans are the most rigid. So it's kind of
So what you're saying is that Hawthorne wasn't really making a statement on religion. That was just the setting that the story was set in.
That's what I think. But then again, I said already, I'm not really literate when it comes to the classics. I don't really understand it. I miss a lot of symbolism when I read the classics and all that stuff. But it didn't strike me as any kind of statement or critique of religion. Statement on or a critique of.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
All right. Well, I'm not going to read it again to see if I'm wrong. I just know that I'm not. All right. So give me your ratings already. Give me your ratings on the book.
We're we're halfway through, right?
Yep. I do. Go on.
I give it 2 out of 5 upside down crosses.
Awesome.
two crosses down.
5. Bite your thumb. All right, Ansel.
Well, I didn't really get time to think about it, so I was going to do something along the lines of
you caught me off guard.
Yeah. I was going to do something along the lines of a fruit cake or something like that, or sort of a wicked, sinful fruit cake. because I think this novel, like, it's in every bookstore. It's in everybody knows about it, but I don't know anybody. Like, if you say the name Hester Prynne or Roger Chillingworth, it's not part of the social currency.
Are you sure it wouldn't be a devil's food cake?
I was thinking, or a 7-layer chocolate. The 7 layers of hell chocolate.
That's good. 7 layers.
Well, that's the thing. People eat that, though. The reason it's a fruitcake is because nobody actually eats the fruitcake. That's what I'm getting at. So, the Scarlet Letter is a classic in every bookstore, in every school, but it's not part of what I was saying was like, Hester Prynne, Roger Chillingworth, Arthur, was that his name? Arthur Dimmesdale? People don't know who these people are. It's not part of the social currency.
Well,
so
that's why the second coming of Jesus is going to happen, because everybody's eating sinful desserts.
Fruitcakes. Well, actually, I'm not sure why the fruitcake would be like evil or sinful. I just thought it'd be cool to like have a icon of like a fruitcake with a pentagram on it or something like that. And the reason being, the Scarlet Letter is a book that's in every bookstore. It's in every public school. It's considered to be a classic. I think Nathaniel Hawthorne was trying to write the great American novel. So it has that sort of presence and ubiquity, but nobody really knows anything about it. I feel like if you said, Hester, like for this status, the name Hester Prynne or Arthur Dimmesdale or Roger Chillingworth, people should know.
Yes.
People should like refer to these characters if it actually was the classic. It seems to be. Does that make sense? So
yeah, I follow.
So like. The fruitcake, I mean, it's kind of like the fruitcake in that way because, like, fruitcake is a holiday ubiquitous thing. Nobody really eats the fruitcake, though, do they?
I really enjoy fruitcake. Dad does also.
I think it's, okay. But, I mean, that's kind of the, it is good. I'll grant you that. But that's kind of the thing that people say about fruitcake. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I hate it.
I'm not going to make you change your rating.
Well, I don't. I would have come up with something better.
I think you're being very insulting towards fruitcake right now.
Well, I mean that's
that's his rating. I mean,
yeah, I can't go back now. It's an evil fruitcake though, so it's not like the other fruitcakes. It's got a pentagram on it. I don't know if you heard me say that a while ago.
Okay.
No, and I mean now you're.
One other thing, like because Elijah, it sounded like you were about to change gears on us a little bit.
Yep.
One thing I did want to say about this book is what is up with this kid? Like, that is not how kids talk. That is not how children act. Like, this, it just seems so dumb and so forced. Like, oh, she's like a little capricious devil child. She's blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, she's the Linda Blair of the Puritan age. I mean, she's born of sin and weird as all get out. So yeah, I mean,
but don't these weirdos believe that everybody's born in sin? Like,
yeah, but if you're a witch, they burn you. Remember? I mean, there's a limit to how born in sin you can be. And she was weird, and I think by the end of the book it tells you that she's like, you get the idea that she's run off and married some rich nobleman or something, and she didn't get burned at the stake. So happy ending, yay!
And
I kind of saw it going in that direction. I thought Pearl would be charred by the end of this book, but no, she did good to get out of there.
Yeah. Well,
you guys just wait until you read the Scarlet Letter 2. That's when the twist turns.
Speaking of which, like Elijah, you mentioned a minute ago, like you were not going to read it again. I actually did kind of want to read the beginning after I finished it. I didn't, and I probably won't, but I did want to read it over it again just to see like the interactions between Dimmesdale and Scarlet, Hester, because I mean, maybe I was a little late. I mean, I wasn't like completely emotionally invested in this story, so it didn't catch on until about midway through the book that Dimmesdale was the father. I don't know about you guys. At what point did you guys figure that out? I guess it does. I mean,
right in the beginning, I think.
Well, see, like this is your first time reading it,
yeah,
right?
I just realized that you guys are familiar with the story already, and I'm not.
Yeah, well, see, like I had forgotten all of it, and it was after Dimmesdale was presented as a character. It was like, oh yeah, that's the father. I want to say the first time I read it, I don't really remember, but I would guess it. You know, like you said, about halfway through the book, it's like, oh. He did it. Guilty as charged. I want to revisit this idea of the Scarlet Letter 2. What letter is it, and what is it that Pearl, now grown up, has committed? Like, the letter's got to be B, right? If you're spinning this off into a franchise, you want to, you want to stretch it out as far as you want to go. So we'll say Pearl's all grown up now. She has her own letter, and it's a B. Is it Scarlet? Is it the Scarlet Letter 2, the taupe letter?
I think it has to stay Scarlet. And if you want to do a spin-off, you could do like Opal or something like that. But
the chartreuse letter.
For, I don't know, Beelzebub's baby. Beelzebub baby.
The golden bee. It's kind of like the golden calf. She ends up having a bunch of Indians worship her in the forest.
Okay.
Yeah. And gets in with, was it Miss Higgins, the witch of the town? Oh, wait, he mentioned that they hung her or something. Never mind.
I don't remember. I thought Miss Higgins was fine, wasn't she? Nothing ill became of Miss Higgins.
No, I'm pretty sure at the end it says that eventually, I mean, it's like talking about her, and he says, and she would later be hanged for this. And it might have been in the middle of the book too, when he introduces her. He says that the town knows she's kind of meeting in the forest with the Black Devil Man, and would be subsequently hanged for it at some point. But then just goes on in the story as if that's not important at all in Massachusetts.
As is tradition.
As is tradition. Of course we're going to murder this old woman.
I just don't remember that, I guess.
This? How about the Scarlet Letter 2, the Blair Witch Project, 3, Book of Secrets.
All right.
If you say so, man. I can't.
If you got a brief synopsis for it, I mean.
Well, it's a novel, but it's a novel of found footage. So it's describing in first person what this camera is seeing in the Blair Witch 3, the Book of Secrets. Like the camera is looking at a book, and it's the Book of Secrets. And it's just real spooky.
Is it in black and white?
It's in black and white, and there are drawn pictures of like baby dolls in the book. It's real spooky.
But are the baby dolls in like nice dresses that were hand sewn?
They are, but like if you went, like the camera kind of moves, and like it's like a hologram, and they go from like in nice dresses to being like charred and creepy. It's I think we got a winner here. This is the Great American Novel.
Striking gold. I like it. Well, all right.
But yeah, I'm done with that. Let's move on.
I know.
Did you give your rating, Elijah?
No, I know I sprung the ratings on you guys. I'll give you one more chance to re-rate before we move on. No takers? I like your sinful fruitcake.
Well, I don't know. I don't like the fruitcake. I can't really give this an A, though. You know what I mean? I feel like that's like, if I like the book, I'd be like, I'm going to give this book an A. And then I would like, I don't know, do the verbal equivalent of winking or whatever. But I can't give this book an A, so I can't. That joke doesn't really work.
All right.
I'll give it an, I don't know. I don't really want to rate this book.
All right. Well then let's move it on to me. I'm going to give it.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I give it one red herring, because the Great White Whale probably is the Great American Novel, and this is just a red herring. Boom, I got it. I still got it, guys.
Yep, you're in.
Still
You're in like
number one.
Flynn. Nice, well done.
I give your rating 2 thumbs up. I give the book 2 big old crosses down. I'm sticking with that.
I guess I need to give it a rating, but I also don't want to. I've written so many stupid papers on this book, and when I chose the book as book 1 of my 5-part series, I didn't realize what a life-altering decision that was. I'm going to give it a Scarlet A so we can be done with the damn thing.
Wait, how is it life-altering? I don't understand.
No. Well, you're about to see. No longer is this a 5-part series. This is now a 4-part series. We're still going to do 4 books, but I'm changing it completely to things that they should have given you in school.
Okay.
Other than the Scarlet Letter. All
That
right?
works. Okay.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
Right,
That's good.
so-
Because like when Dylan a minute ago
And
when he said that,
I offer to both of you and to any of our listeners my heartfelt apologies. I do.
Well,
I am-
okay,
I am-
so since we're doing that, what would the other books going to be in the series that we're not doing anymore?
Oh man, Pearl S. Buck's The Good Earth.
I was going to
God.
say actually, but let me stop you there. I think
Yeah.
that is the one book. I mean, I was a good student. I usually did what I was assigned. That was the one book that I couldn't read, so that would have been appropriate for this series.
Well, I liked The Good Earth, and I liked The Scarlet Letter too, and I even liked The Scarlet Letter when I was in college and had to do it again. But reading it through this time, I hated it. And I mean, and the Scarlet A, I'm giving it as a rating, just stands for ass. I can't be asked to read this book again. Don't ask me to.
All right,
Don't
Wouldn't that
ask
be
me.
like a brown A?
It's
You give it a
just-
brown A with
Yeah, we can-
like asterisk next to it.
You can do whatever you
a
want.
brown
with this rating.
asterisk. Is that what you're saying?
I really don't care.
Yeah.
what this rating is. All right.
Well, let me. You were saying.
Well, I've got something. I've got something to save
Okay,
it.
go
But
ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead, man.
All right. I've got something to save it. What we're going to do for the remainder of this podcast is forget that we asked people to read this book, including ourselves, and we're going to talk about what we didn't get to last week. Fair enough?
You have the conch, man. Whatever you want to do.
I'm blowing the conch. I'm blowing it loud. I don't know if you can hear that. Maybe in post we can put some conch blowing in there. We're going to talk about science fiction. We're going to do it. You guys.
Okay.
You
But before
belittled
we
Star
do that, I
Wars.
do-
No. You stepped on holy ground and called it space magic.
I know where this is going. Don't you think maybe we ought to get a word in from our sponsor before we go down
We
this
can
road?
do that. We can do that. We do have another sponsor this week. We can play the little spot they sent us, and then it's go time, fellas.
Before we go, let me say this before we go. This is what I was going to say a minute ago, and I forgot. I do think like it is important to read the classics, even if it's not something that
Even if it's-
resonates with me. So I do think, I wouldn't want my disapproval in the form of the red herring rating to discourage you from choosing classics. Same with you, Dylan, because I do think that is an important. What's the word?
Genre.
Yeah, no, an important
Cultural
purpose.
touchstone.
Yeah, it should be a touchstone of book club that we do read the classics, and I do think that it's in order to really truly be a part of civilization, you need to have been exposed to books like the Scarlet Letter. So,
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, it's important for possibly historians. I could see where linguists could get a lot of use out of it, and seeing how the language has changed over the years. But I mean, I do kind of want to mention, I was in my local bookstore the other day, and I saw, I forget the title of the book, but I believe it was essentially Romeo and Juliet, but they've spruced it up for the modern age. And
yeah, I think I
was
remember
like
seeing stuff like
emojis. It is like emojis.
Oh my God.
And text speech, but it was
I haven't seen that.
Romeo.
No.
Like, I think that's dandy. I think that's great because language is a living, breathing thing, and it's constantly changing. And I think it's a good idea to get the classics up to date to reach a new hip audience.
Well, maybe we should read one of those books in our book club.
Yeah, I can see that already. Dost thou bite thou thumb at me, Mercutio? LOL. I mean, come on, seriously. No.
Yeah,
no, it'd be like finger pointing to the right, teeth, mouth, thumbs up, finger pointing to the left, question mark, question mark, question mark.
I mean, we're
just sounds exhausting.
We're making fun of this, but we just gave like the Scarlet Letter like 2 upside down crosses out of 5. You know what I mean? It's kind of like we're doing kind of the same thing.
But those are ratings. We're not writing the Scarlet Cross or the Scarlet Cross. All right, yeah, I guess we are now. Never mind.
Dylan, you researched this. What did the critics say at the time? Or there, I'm sure there were literary critics.
Yeah, they were crazy about it. His contemporaries, like a lot of poets and authors and everything, they were very effusive with their praise.
Nuts.
Oh yeah, they were just.
They were nuts about the book.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
Why? What was it about it that they latched onto, and why is it still considered a classic? I mean, this is not a rhetorical question. I would really like to know.
You and me both.
But I mean, what did people say? Like, what's the rationale for this? For this elevated status?
It's the psychological edge of the book. That's what everybody went ape crap over, was that they had never seen anyone write such a thrilling account of psychological, I guess, torment.
Yes, people torn between their feelings of duty and responsibility, I guess.
And I guess you have to take into account also that these people didn't have Nintendos and
fidget spinners.
NASCARs they had to find some other way to fidget.
And yeah, I do think that when we read books like this, I don't approach it as entertainment when we're reading a Scarlet Letter. I didn't go into this thinking this is going to be awesome because I have Candy Crush or any game on my phone is superior to I can't really say that. I mean, to reading old stuff that you have to sort of pour over, if you have to sort of translate from their English to your English, it's kind of tedious, don't you think? But if you read a Polonic or something like that, yeah, that is entertaining. Does that make sense?
That does. And also, it might be a situation where we have become slightly desensitized. I'm sure this novel might have been really salacious in its time, but today we have, your Stephen Kings that are, on the cutting edge of suspense and what have you.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point that both of you make.
Yeah, and it's I guess it's kind of like the band Kiss, They were
what Dave Matthews song did they do?
Parents were protecting their kids from Kiss. You remember that? I mean, we weren't then, but it was kind of a thing. And I think now, I'm actually going to pull up some Kiss lyrics, and I'm going to read some because I'm sure it's kind of silly now. You know what I mean? Or maybe Marilyn Manson. Someday people will look back and say that guy wasn't such a horror. You know what I mean? So I get that. The point is, I see what you're saying, Dylan. At the time. It's sort of maybe a scandalous thing.
Have you ever heard Marilyn Manson talk? And not lyrics, just
interviews and stuff.
Statements that he's made.
I remember hearing an interview he did. I think it was shortly after the Columbine shooting. He was very eloquent and
yeah. That's probably the one I'm thinking about. He's fairly intelligent. Seems to be. I mean, and seems to be. You'd kind of want to hang out with the guy. I would never have thought that, but
yeah, I would
no
want
one's hanging out with Marilyn Manson. Okay,
yeah, probably. I would probably pass. I mean, I would probably be oh, dude, I want to, but kidneys. I don't know. I would come up with something.
Against a sore subject. Okay. It's time for a commercial break. We're going to take a small commercial break. We're going to come back.
Did we not do that already?
No, we didn't.
I think we started to, and then we got sidetracked.
No, we didn't. And I've got to get this in. I promised them I would do it. So we're going to take a small sponsor break, and we'll be right back, and we're going to sort out what's what with some of the egregious things that were said last week. This is Elijah Crowder, and I'm taking command of the ship and steering it.
Airing of grievances, huh?
No, we're going to try and have some fun.
Are we going into the final frontier?
No, because it sucks. We'll be right back after this.
Busted buttons, crinkly corsets, or stretched out stomachers? No worries. Prithee, bring thy aggravating accoutrement to So Good Sewing Shop, our ever so effervescent staff, under the wise and oversight of the magnificent Miss Prynne, will get thee back to thy boisterous bonfires in the Black Forest in no time. Forsooth, we specialize in scarlet velvets, ruminous ruffles, and ignominious embroidery. All of your Puritan garb can be the talk of the crowd around the scaffold this Sunday. Just present thyself and thy woesome wares at any time. We are located off the path, near the brambles, aside the cliffs, outside of ye old Boston town. Approach, sinners, and see what can be so right at so good. That's so with a crimson W. Just look for the demon child.
You want me to start? You want me to read some Kiss lyrics to start out the second half?
Yeah, okay.
I've got X-ray eyes, and I can see right through your lies. Ah, yeah. I've got X-ray eyes, and I can see right through your lies. Ah, yeah. I've got X-ray eyes, and I can see right through your lies. Ah, yeah. I've got X-ray eyes, and I can see right through your lies. Ah, well, I've got. And that's it.
Oh, God.
So could you imagine the blasphemy?
What the hell was
see, that's just the thing. The church, they don't want people seeing through their lies and questioning the
Trinity
spew that they. Yeah,
that's a good point, actually, Dylan.
I get it.
That's why they were. Okay, go ahead.
Well, yeah. I don't know who this Kiss is. I thought it was the guy with the glasses.
It's actually spelled KISS, and it stands for Knights in Satan's Service.
Is that even true, though? Is that really?
It's 100% true, and it's just like AC/DC was After Christ, Devil Comes.
No,
this is just it's what. Come on, man. That's why the parents were all up in arms about it, because everyone knew that's what it meant.
Which Led Zeppelin song was it that they thought if you played it backwards, it said something about Satan? I don't know. And I actually heard it, and if you're shown what it's supposed to say, you can actually kind of hear it. You know what I mean? It's like you can, if it's some phenomenon where if you're sort of given a framework of what you're supposed to see or hear, it's like an ink blot test or something. If you tell somebody that it's a butterfly, then they're automatically going to see that butterfly. You know? Right. So
okay. I think we're getting off the rails a little bit here. Yeah. So I'm going to try and transition us from going from Kiss to talking about sci-fi. Are you aware of the names of the characters that the Kiss members take?
I'm aware of what they are.
I just thought it was their names, like Ace Frehley, Gene Simmons. Was it Paul Stanley?
No.
Peter, Chris.
No. When they have the makeup and the costumes on, you've got the Star Child. That's Stanley.
Okay.
The Demon is Simmons. You also have the Spaceman or Space Ace. That's Frehley.
It must be Frehley.
And also the Catman.
The Catman.
So you got Star Child, Demon, Spaceman, Catman. That's some evil shit.
That's pretty...
Well, cats are harbingers of doom. And, pets
the
of
cat man.
witches. Yeah. This has just gone redonkulous. I do apologize, A, for choosing this book, and B, for switching up the format of this episode, and C, apologize for those for
the ignominy.
Again.
You apologize for
and
this disgraceful ignominy.
This egregiousness and all the Dave Matthews mentionings. It's just, I'm so sorry. But I really, really do want to touch on last week again for a couple of reasons. A big Scarlet A. I don't think we did Miss Le Guin's book justice. I think we left a bunch of stuff out.
Yeah, I kind of got that impression
I wanted to
too.
give you guys, 5 minutes, 10 minutes or so to maybe, if you have thought about something else. I mean, let's not waste any time on Scarlet Letter anymore. Let's go back to something that we read and we all liked, because that was good. And I do want to, before we do that, just briefly point out that in Star Trek, beaming people is space magic. There, I said it.
But they try to rationalize it with like a faux scientific process.
What they might as well rationalize it with the Willy Wonka. It cuts the bar into millions of pieces and shoots it over there. I mean, it's
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
right.
Let me preface this by saying this is a nerd bridge too far. My whole life I've resisted any kind of like defending Star Trek against Star Wars fans or X-Men versus Avengers or anything like that. I'll do my best, but I'm not going to be too passionate about either side. But why would you?
Yeah, and that's just the thing. Like I don't begrudge other people for enjoying something, even if I don't enjoy it.
Me too, but I agree with you, Dylan. But I think you were the one who said space magic, not to like pass the buck. But why would you have called Star Wars space magic? Not that I'm, not that I'm chiding you, but I just why would you say that?
Okay, prequel midichlorian. The Force was always explained as a essence that surrounds and connects us, and it's very mystical, and it's, very magical. It's wielded by these warrior monks. Like, it's something that you would have pulled straight out of a D&D game, except it's in space. One other thing, I'm in real deep on this KISS Wikipedia article. They had 2 other members that came on later. Also, so in addition to the Star Child, the Demon, the Spaceman / Space Ace, and the Catman, you also had the Fox and the Ankh Warrior as in the Egyptian symbol. So the
Ankh, like the guitar tech or something.
Yeah, he has like an Ankh, like starting above his eyes, and like his eyebrows are like the arms of the Ankh, and then it goes down his nose. So I had to get that in there, but yeah, space magic.
I mean, if there was ever a band where if you had a falling out with any member, you wouldn't have to really have a new member. You know what I mean? You could just use the same makeup, and nobody would really know. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody's really. I mean, the tongue thing, yeah, you'd have to have a similarly
like a prosthetic
perhaps
tongue.
Yeah, if it, I mean, that would be obvious, I think, but as far as other stuff, you would have to recruit somebody and say, okay, what's your makeup pattern going to be? You could just say, okay, you're the new Ace, you're the new Catman, you're the new Space Ace.
Who's to say that didn't happen?
That probably did happen if I had to guess.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But why Ankh, the Ankh fighter? Why? And why would you fight? Oh, no, the Ankh Warrior. I'm sorry.
The Ankh Warrior.
I think he's not fighting the Ankh. He is a warrior of the Ankh.
Okay, so he's fighting to protect the Ankh.
The Ankh is the Egyptian symbol representing life force. Am I correct in that?
I think that's right, yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so he's a warrior for life. That was stupid. Uncle joke on this episode.
So maybe instead of kids in Satan or knights in Satan's service, it's like knights in Ra's service cures.
Well, I wonder if that played into their into the decision to hire these recruits. It's like they have a meeting and they say, "All right, do we want the Ankh warrior, protector of the Ankh, or do we want
kind of like that scene in the hit movie Mystery Men where they're having like the superhero auditions?"
Yeah, kind of like that.
But instead, it's like rock and roll hero musicians.
Right. So yeah, I mean, do we want the Ankh warrior who has a pretty cool Ankh, but he kind of sucks at the drums, or we get this better drummer, but he's like the grill master?
What does the grill master, your face paint, look like?
Probably just like a like a grid iron.
Elijah, do you have a rejected Kiss member?
I do not. I'm just laughing too hard at yours. I don't have a rejected Kiss member yet.
Mine would be Afghan man. Like not like someone from Afghanistan, but like the knitted blankets.
Yeah.
So he would have like a real wavy pattern on his face,
or he could just wear like a scarf. He wouldn't even need makeup. He could just like wear like a scarf, and you would get somebody in the crowd at every show would be like, "That's not an Afghan," but.
Okay, and Elijah, I think you wanted to talk about something else. What was that? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm closing the Kiss band page. I just had to get the Fox.
All right, let me read one more lyric. I won't draw this out as much, but
all right, go ahead, Ansel. Go ahead.
I'm clicking randomly here. I did that with X-Ray Eyes, or I'm guessing the song was called X-Ray Eyes. Let's see. Let me get one from there.
What is the title of the song for real? I bet it's not X-Ray Eyes.
Yeah, it's called X-Ray Eyes. This is the song after X-Ray Eyes. It's called Save Your Love. Save your love. Save it. Save it. Save your love. Save it. Save it. Save your love. I don't want it. Save your love. Save it for someone else. Save it. Save it. Save your love. I don't need it. Save your love.
All right, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. I can't take it.
Put it back on the shelf for somebody else. Anywho.
Okay, yeah, I get the Christians now. Like, our kids can't be listening to this.
No, and that's completely, I don't know, I see the other side of it. Maybe if Hester Prynne had told Dimsdale to save his love. She wouldn't have been in the mess.
But like, even when we were kids, though, right? Like, I mean, it was still, they had this air of evil around him as far as like public perception. You know what I mean? Do you guys not feel that way about Kiss at the time?
I didn't feel that way at all, and it may just be because I'm, significantly younger than you two.
Perhaps.
They were a cultural afterthought to me and my generation.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, the only Kiss song I know before I was introduced to X-Ray Eyes and Save Your Love was I Want to Rock and Roll All Night and Party Every Day.
It's like,
which I don't know if that's the title of the track, but it probably is. I want to rock and roll all night, and in parentheses, and party every day.
Can you find out for us, Ansel? Because now I have to know.
Well, all right.
Yeah, I can't go back down that rabbit hole. I can't look up any more Kiss stuff.
All right, I got you. Boo.
I gotta know. Inquiring minds and whatnot.
All right, it's called Rock and Roll All Night, but it's NITE.
Oh, of course it is.
Okay.
No parentheses.
Well, that's
And
kind of disappointing.
I've got my Kiss reject member now.
Okay.
Okay, let's hear it.
Nightman.
Fight of the day, man.
Yeah, there you go. I hope we don't get sued for that. All right. So I don't want to talk about Star Wars anymore. I don't want to talk about.
No, I think you did have a point. You had a
we'll
point
let
you
you,
wanted
like-
to make. So
Our next episodes, Elijah, we'll give you like Elijah's Corner so you can like reclaim your lost time and you can say whatever you want.
No, this has turned out way better than I had hoped.
welcome to
Considering the
Elijah's
book.
tricky takedown.
All right. Star Wars.
No, I don't have anything against Star Trek. I
I guess
am a huge fan of the expanded Star Wars universe, which, as we mentioned, doesn't count anymore.
I guess here's my thing. Not to cut you off, and you can finish, but the thing about Star Wars is like I'm kind of done with Star Wars just because it's already shown me all it has to show me. You know what I mean? It's like I've taken the lessons of Star Wars, and I've taken it to heart, and I go out into the world and I fight the dark side. But it's like there's no value in repeat viewing for me. Whereas Star Trek, since I haven't really seen all the episodes, I've seen like all the movies, but there's plenty in this Star Trek canon that I haven't seen, and it's interesting. It's new and it's interesting to me. Whereas Star Wars, like I never got into the extended universe. Like something about fan fiction is not for me. But Star Trek right now is exciting and new, even though it came out like 50 years ago.
You would get absolutely blasted, but in certain circles for calling the Star Wars Extended Universe fan fiction. Like I think there's a dividing line between fan fiction and like licensed novels and whatnot. But I think that is kind of important to see, like what they do with these Star Wars movies that are in between the episodes. At this point, we've only seen Rogue One, and trying to see how they expand the themes of Star Wars. I think that might be interesting.
And
What did you guys think of Rogue One?
I thought it was good. I liked it a lot. I saw it in the theater, and I thought it was great. But again, I mean, I've seen it like 3 times now, and I don't feel like I really need to see it again. It's that kind of thing. I don't really need to like know every corner of that movie, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. I liked the droid character whose name I can't remember.
That would be K2SO.
Yes, K2SO. I like that dude.
Voiced by Alan Tudyk from Firefly and Death at a Funeral.
I did not know that was him. Cool. I'll tell you. You mentioned Rogue One, and then I'm gonna get off of this crazy train. Which, by the way, it was an Ozzy song that you played backwards, and it said something about the devil.
Maybe I think you're right.
Did you know about the characters in Black Sabbath?
Ozzy and Tommy, I think was the guitar.
Tommy
Yeah,
Iommi, I think his name was.
No, there's no characters. All right. No, Rogue One was dirty and gritty, and I think the main character, the main rebel dude,
Cassian Andor,
just straight up murdering for the rebellion, and then that got me to thinking back of Han Solo shot first. Han Solo was a drug runner. There's this dirty, gritty side to Star Wars that even as a kid, you kind of make heroes of these people. And as you get older, you think, wait a second, this guy's maybe not a good guy. And that lends a lot of credence to what Dylan was saying last week about it just being, rehashed heroic tales. And I just think it's superbly done. And, the Millennium Falcon is dirty, man. It's got blaster marks on it. How many battles... All right, I'm not going down that road. I'm not slamming Star Trek, but I mean, come on, I need a little dirt in my science fiction.
There is a fairly made point that the rebels are insurgent, anti-establishment.
Was it hashtag Empire did nothing wrong or something like that?
Right, and God knows how many people Luke killed when he blew up the Death Star.
A religious fanatic on the loose, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there you go. I need some dirt in my science fiction. And Star Trek's just too clean cut, man. Federation good, everyone else bad. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Beam me up.
That's
torpedoes.
That's a good point. Your point is well taken. I will say that.
So, have you guys watched Firefly?
I've not.
Yeah,
No.
years ago. Wait, was Firefly the movie or the series? The movie was Serenity?
Right, that's right. Firefly was the series.
Yeah. Well, the answer is both. Yes, I've watched them. Yeah.
Yeah, Ansel, you should. It's real dirty sci-fi. It's good stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
See, and this is what I wanted to do with the end of this episode. What other sci-fi? Because Dylan, you mentioned last week that even though, or it might have been Ansel saying, even though we're into sci-fi stuff, we really haven't read that much when it comes to books. And
yes.
I was thinking about it, and I found that's true for me as well.
I think that is true. I think it's probably a genre of literature. If it's still, does it still count as literature? I don't know, but yeah, sure, why not? That we haven't really explored, and I think we would really enjoy it. So, I mean, every so often, I probably will choose a science fiction book for us.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to talk about the Scarlet Letter when we decided not to. The last week's book was just way better, and I mean we talked about it, and then I found myself over the week. I listened to what we talked about, and thought, okay, we didn't mention the sexuality aspect of it at all, and that's huge. It's prevalent throughout the entire novel. This just sexuality as a broad concept, and then we didn't even mention that the protagonist gets sort of tied up in date rape at some point. I don't know what else to call it. Looking back at it, I don't know what else to call it. There's so many facets to the book we read last time that I wanted to take some time this week again to tell you thanks. That was awesome, and then sorry for what I've done.
No, it's fine. Like, I think that if I remember correctly, the date rape that you're referring to, Shevik had alcohol for the first time. Is that what it was? And he just couldn't control his impulses. Is that
right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty graphic.
Yeah,
too.
that was a real uncomfortable scene.
Yeah. And, and again, it lends a little bit of credence to the whole idea earlier in the book of, how they viewed the women on Eurus. Yeah. Well, we totally glanced over that. And they saw them
expand
as
on that a little
propertarian.
bit.
Well, they saw them, they were taught in school that, actually says they were taught in school that all women on Eurus were proprietarian prostitutes. And even though he knows that this woman is married and he's friends with the woman's husband, after spending a day with her, he starts to think himself, maybe she's actually a prostitute as well. And I don't think that's something that dear Dr. Shevik would have thought of unless that seed had been planted there earlier. And they do mention that the films that they showed on Eurus when they were in school, that was part of it.
I didn't pick up on it quite that way. She was definitely trying to seduce him.
I agree with Dylan.
But she just didn't want to do it right then because it was in the middle of a party, and that she was hosting. She says, not now. Mm-hmm. But Shevik is drunk for the first time, and he can't control himself. I didn't necessarily pick up what you were putting down there.
Well, there's actually a passage in the book of Shevik's own thoughts where he says maybe she's a prostitute. And
Elijah was saying the way that Eurystes were portrayed to them as children, sort of manifested itself in the way he treated the Eurystes woman whose name I can't remember. But I think more than anything, I was just thinking sexual gratification on Anaris it was never elusive. You know what I mean? It was just it's do you want to do it? Check yes or no. It was that kind of thing. They were that open about it. And he's even Shevik even has a homosexual relationship with a friend just because he understands that his friend needs that sexual gratification even though he himself is not gay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I found that very interesting, actually.
So I think that's just the difference of the
I
cultures.
really hope that like this is the first episode that somebody listens to, and they're like, "What is going on?"
Well, I was thinking
Like,
something else. I was hoping our most loyal listener listening from the beginning, but they weren't able to read The Dispossessed, and they're like, "That's okay. I'll skip that one, but I'll come back to it later. I don't want it to be spoiled." And then they fire up the Scarlet Letter episode, like, "Oh hell yeah, Scarlet Letter! I know this." And then we've spoiled The Dispossessed for them. The novel where in the end, what happens in the end? I can't spoil it. Oh yeah, he escapes. He escapes Eurus and gives the Ansible equations to the Terrans for all the universe to use.
He escapes with the help of the Ankh Warrior.
The Ankh Warrior and the Catman.
The Catman. They escort him off of Eurus.
All right.
They're sweet, sweet jams.
Yeah. Now, I do agree with you, Elijah. I do think, like, I was kind of not really disappointed in how we approached The Dispossessed, but like I don't think we really had enough time to let it ruminate or
right. And
or
I
to let it
wasn't
marinate, I
disappointed
guess.
at all. I wasn't disappointed either. I just think there's so much wrapped into every page of that book that it would take 5 podcasts to really get everything out that could be said about it, I think.
Yeah, and I'm really interested
goal.
now to revisit the Hanish Chronicles, and that's another thing too. Like, no offense on like your pick or anything, I'm not trying to go there, but going from that to the Scarlet Letter, I was like, oh, this again. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
where reading is like work. You know what I mean? Did you feel like reading is work? And I got to be honest, like for about a third of the book, I just listened to the audiobook. I read 2/3 of it, and I listened to a third of it on audiobook just because I couldn't, I didn't want to.
You talking about the Scarlet Letter?
I'm talking about the Scarlet Letter, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to like 3/4 of it on audiobook, and then I didn't listen to the last quarter of it.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. I mean, it's just in the interest of full disclosure. I mean, I try not to listen to audiobooks, but it just got to where I just couldn't keep my attention, and so I needed to mix it up. But anyway, no offense, Elijah.
Like,
sorry.
While we're on, I know we're running like super long. I do want to get in Elijah's story of when he was assigned this book.
Oh yeah,
in
which I think was the whole point of us doing this, right?
For posterity's sake, and it's also a funny story. So Elijah, why don't you tell us about that event in your life?
All right. Well, yeah, I believe it was 8th grade when this book was initially assigned, and I and a good friend of mine, Mr. Chad Collins, we didn't read the book, and it was quickly approaching the day of the exam. And we had this little small gas station in the town that decided they were going to rent movies as a side business. And, and it was never anything good. I think you could, maybe they had one Indiana Jones movie or something. But we would go there and buy, Big League Chew, baseball cards, sunflower seeds, and Yoo-hoo, what have you. And we saw that the Scarlet Letter was in there. And, lo and behold, praise Jeebus, we had a way out, and so I think it was a Monday night, or no, it was a Sunday night.
It was definitely a Sunday night. I remember that.
It was a Sunday night. The test was going to be on Monday. We had rented the Scarlet Letter, and we brought it to our house. Chad came over. We had dinner, and we waited till about 8:30 p.m. Popped the VHS cassette into the video cassette recorder, what we knew as a VCR back in those days, and press play, and lo and behold, praise Jeebus, the movie was in German. All of it. The entire film was in German. There were no subtitles.
I don't even think you watched the whole movie, did you? You said the whole film, maybe like the last...
We did not watch. We watched about 15 minutes. I did not speak any German. He did not speak any German. No one in that household. There was no German dictionary that would have that would have.
It would have been easier just to read the book at that
the
point.
point of not reading the book. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure what Chad scored on that test. I'm not sure. But somehow I made an 87. I got a B out of it.
Wow. Now I will say, like, the thing I remember about that, I do remember that night. And the thing I remember most is like Dad and Mom just like
laughing.
The hardest laughing I think I've ever heard. Not ever.
Uncontrollable laughing.
They could not stop laughing at how you guys were about to fail a test for procrastinating. It was funny. I do remember that. And you guys weren't amused at all. You and Chad had that look on your faces like you knew that your number was up.
Yeah, that was that sinking gut feeling where you just know that no matter what you do, you're not going to come out of this one smelling like roses.
Yeah, the bell tolls for thee.
And that's the day that you realized you needed to be an English major when you went to college, because you were able to BS your way to an 87 on the test.
That's it, man. I mean, it was. I just looked at the questions and thought, well, if I was writing this piece of puritanical crap, how would I write it? And yeah, got a B. I think that's almost a B plus. So I didn't come out smelling like roses, but I'll take violets. Violets are nice. And blue. All right. Well, that's recorded for posterity, and as if I wasn't embarrassed about it enough, now it's out there for everyone.
Well, you made an 87, dude. I didn't know that. That's nothing to be embarrassed about. That's pretty good.
Man, Blind Hog finds
maybe your German was better than you thought.
Well, I only watched 15 minutes of it.
so it was way better than you thought.
Yeah, it could have been born to speak German. Who knows? But I want to turn this nightmare over to the next book reader, which would be Mr. Dylan, next book chooser, I should say. And again, we'll have I don't know if I'm going to do this series. I don't. It's maybe the next book. We're just not going to mention anything about a series anymore. And chalk this one up for maybe it was a bad idea, but I think we've powered through it. I want to thank both of you for not even reading the damn book. I did.
Okay. I read 2/3 of it. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that. Well, and you listened to the audiobook too. It's almost the same as reading it. What else? I had a request. I was going to turn it over to Dylan, and Ansel, I want you to lead us out with another kiss poem.
Oh, gladly. I didn't. I wasn't expecting it.
The Knights
but
in
that's okay.
Saint Service.
Right.
So
I'm going to close my eyes. I'm on this
Dylan
webpage.
Gets us turned over. Well, we'll let Dylan get us turned over first, and we'll exit.
No. I want to do this first. Now that you mentioned it, I can't contain myself. Okay. All right, random song. I'm not even looking. All right, this song is called "The Oath" from their 1981 album "Music from the Elder."
Okay.
Like a blade of a sword, I'm forged in flame, fiery hot, tempered steel, fire bright to the night I take. I fear not. Now compelled by something I cannot see, I go forth surrendering to history. Your glory, I swear I ride for thee. Your power, I trust it rides with me. Your servant, I am and ever shall be. Shall I be, sorry. This is actually pretty awesome. It's not funny at all.
Yeah, it's pretty epic.
Pretty
but is is this for Satan?
Well, let's we're almost through with the song, so let's find out. Through a dream, it says I have a come to an ancient door. It's a little Dylan-esque there. I don't know if that's a typo, but through a dream, I have a come to an ancient door. Lost in the mist, I have been there 100 times or more, pounding my fists. Now inside, the fire of the ancient burns. A boy goes in, and suddenly a man returns.
So it's about jerking it, like that whole song.
It seems that way. I gave my word and gained a key. I gave my heart and set it free. There's no turning back from this odyssey, because I feel so alive suddenly. And I wonder, is this really me? And I'm bowing, but you can't see that.
Wait, was that a lyric, like the last lyric, or
No. I was actually.
You're taking a bow. Okay.
I was taking a bow.
Yeah, it sounds like that song's about jerking it to Cthulhu. But like, I'm kind of proud of the progression that they've made. Like, they didn't just say the name of the song over and over again. Like that actually showed
I am a sword. I am a sword. I am a sword. All right, that was beautiful, Ansel. Lovely. Thank you. That was
thank you so much for the great Kiss lyrics.
Yeah.
I just did want to say that last one.
Go for it.
That last Kiss song, like they showed some junior college
maturity,
creative writing. Yeah, like that's a dope epic poem.
Yep.
Well, there's another one called "Love's a Slap in the Face." I'll save it for next time, though. I think
we should open the next episode with it. Speaking of next episode,
oh, dope segue. Yeah, I have a book chosen for next week. It is the title is "The Color of Magic" by Terry Pratchett. It is the first. It is the first in the series of Discworld novels. I think it's the first published one. But like the Discworld series is kind of crazy. Like if you look for like a chronological order, like you have to follow this flow chart. Like this book takes place in a alternate dimension, parallel in time next to this book. So I just went by order of published date as the first published. I've always wanted to get into Terry Pratchett.
Yeah, same here, man. I think it's a good choice.
I've kind of heard that he does to fantasy what Douglas Adams kind of did to sci-fi, bring that dry British humor to it. So yeah,
I've heard similar
that's
things.
The book for next week.
Discworld is like a planet
cool.
that like an elephant is carrying on its trunk or something like that. I've heard that. Am I completely wrong?
It's a disc world on the back of a turtle.
Okay.
And it is being held up by 4 elephants in each corner, I think, is how it's set up. Well, I guess if it's a disc, it doesn't have corners, but
still sounds like a Kiss song.
Like yep. Discworld. The world is a disc. Ooh.
Ooh.
The world is a disc. It's a disc world. But
right.
yeah, that's what we're reading for next week. Y'all are welcome to read along at home. Tweet at us your witty observations about Kiss songs or the book we're reading. Mm-hmm. We are at Bookclubcast on Twitter. Where else can they find us on the internet?
They can find us on Reddit. It's Bookclubcast is the subreddit. There you can slam me for this week's horrible choice of book, and just basically tell me if there's something we missed in the Scarlet Letter that we should have talked about, because you'd be wrong. Go ahead and post questions that you have or any insights that you find into this Terry Pratchett novel. What's the title of the novel again, Dylan?
The Color of Magic.
The Color of Magic. Cool. And we'll get into some Terry Pratchett, and this will be fun. This should be very fun. But yeah, you can holler into the interweb wide webs of the world. You should be able to find us. Ansel, anything to add?
Nothing here.
Well, all right. You've been listening to Book Club for some reason. We do appreciate
You've been listening to Book Club, a weekly fan cast for the band Kiss. Shout out to the Yonk Warrior, wherever you may be.
You've been listening to Book Club, the most oblique Star Wars fan fiction.
This is for you, Catman. Meow, meow. All right. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.
All right.
Take us out, Ansel.
Gamma vision. He's got that gamma vision. He's got that gamma vision. Gamma vision. He's got that gamma vision. He's got that gamma vision. Gamma vision. He's got that gamma vision. Just try, honey. look,
baby. You know I got the gamma vision.
He's got that gamma vision.
I got that gamma vision. No dice sugar. You know I got the gamma vision. I got that gamma vision.